This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Landmarks Preservation Board. Today is Thursday, November 1st. This is a public meeting. Present at this meeting are
Dan Larry, Tom Cantwell,
Bob Haley,
Julia Marshall,
Jeff Romano,
Cynthia Carter, Lisa Tanzi,
and Kate Aueter.
good morning. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes, and are there any corrections, alterations, and so forth, revisions?
I'll revise them to show that Cynthia had actually mentioned both sides under the
blank,
Jacob.
yes.
That both sides were yeah. I know.
For the Jacob.
For the Jacob, yeah.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as written and amended?
oh, never mind.
No.
Who motion? Who?
Lisa did.
Okay. And who seconded? One of you guys. Okay. So the first order of
We need a vote. We need a vote though.
Oh, you never put it. Oh, go ahead. A call for a vote.
Favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed.
Opposed?
absent.
Abstain?
Absent. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll put you as an abstain because you were missing.
So we had the acceptance of the minutes. It appears we have no old business, so on to new business, which is a certificate of appropriateness for CA-18-18338 Berkeley Drive, the replacement of a single octagon window.
Yeah,
And I see that the individual, the homeowner, is not here due to an engagement.
Yeah. She was unable to attend this morning, but I told her that I could present the application. Actually, we saw, or the Landmark Preservation Board reviewed a different project on this. 5 years ago now, 2013. They had come in to install trim around the windows, because if you remember, all those are replacement windows. This building, it's in Berkeley Park. It's it has been, I believe it is, or was originally a contributing building within the district, but it has been heavily altered. There's a lot of changes that have happened. It was recited, all the windows were replaced, or the majority of them were replaced, and the replacement windows didn't have any trim around them, and that's what they came in for in 2013. And so you'll see now that, at least on this photo, you'll see the trim that they did, and that's to match the original windows, which are the ones on the second floor there. So at that time, at that 2013 meeting, I remember or the Landmark Preservation Board did discuss down the line replacing this octagon, and that's where they are now.
Question?
Yep.
The new window they call, was it 48 inches tall? Mm-hmm. Do you know if the head and the sill will align with anything else, such as that window next
That's
to
what I
Window the same size as the one next to it.
she said that they would align.
It's a narrower. Like
It's
only 2
ne-
feet,
it's-
but the height, this
Yep.
is like a poster
Yep.
child for the window catalogs through the 50s and
Yep.
60s.
Yeah.
We can do anything, we can put any window you want in, so that whole facade. And the quality of the whole district is the fact that there's strong design in each house, whether it was conforming or non-conforming. So it would be important for the octagon, if it's leaving at the owner's choice, to have the head and the sill aligned with the window to the right.
Yep.
Or the left, actually. They can make their call.
Yeah.
They can
Okay.
go right or left.
Yep.
Actually, the more I look at it, it might be better left.
Yep.
To have it
Left, yeah.
taller.
Apparently it's a
it a
bathroom.
shack room?
It's a bathroom.
Oh,
So
big
they may
window.
not, a big window, right, yes.
Yeah,
So they
they've got
may
the
want to
exterior- they've
go,
got the
they actually
exterior
may
glass.
want to go to the right rather than to the left.
I think I would agree that one should probably match the one on the right, because it's somehow
sink.
centered.
Yeah,
Well, but it's also, in terms of the facade,
No,
it
I
might
would,
work.
if it
Yeah, there would
wasn't for
be
the sink,
balance.
I would definitely do the matching to the ones to the left.
If it wasn't a bathroom, I would agree with you,
Right,
but it's a
that's what I
bathroom, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I recognize Tom.
In the application, they said directly that first floor is old and second floor is original.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask the board if they, in spite of what you see on the first floor, whether you would like to consider recommending the 8/8 that is the second floor of the original. In spite of the first floor, other windows not having not having exactly the same design.
It's a good comment, Tom. I have no problem with the 1/1, just for the
Balance.
balance and homogeneity of all the first.
Well, I was thinking about 3 and 3 balancing the second floor.
It's a minor issue.
It's a minor issue, but I would choose the 8/8.
I think they should save the octagon window up in the attic just in case.
Wants to put it back in.
Okay. Do I have a motion? If there's no more discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept as submitted, with the additional caveat of what Bob mentioned, matching the window on either side, preferably to the right, matching the size of the kitchen window. Is that clear?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? Yeah, I caught that, Bob. No abstains?
I thought you seconded it. You did second
Did
it,
you
okay.
second it?
Okay, good, yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
I thought you
yes.
were calling for a second. Okay.
Matching sizes.
All right. Motion passes.
Oh, did you vote?
We did.
You voted, okay, I missed the vote,
All
sorry.
in favor?
Okay, good.
Okay, so we are now up to discussion. How timely. You want to come up and state your name for the record?
I told you it'd be fast.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jim Niddle, Del Pas Architects, 101 North Clinton Street. Hi.
Okay, good morning.
All right, so we're back on Walnut Avenue. You guys saw some earlier designs.
Yes.
We went through the whole process with the Ward Wellington Ward House. Next phase is to renovate to a certain extent the existing building and add on another 24 units, and try to do a project that's complementary. We're not 100. I don't know what you have there, Bob, but that's.
Oh.
Yeah, but just the images. Okay, so.
Looks like massive there.
Pictures delivered, so we think they're.
Yeah, what we had our pre-development meeting on the other day, and this is a little bit more in line with what our thinking is,
Okay.
to do something that's complementary. We don't want to, it's not going to be a Disney World replication of that, but something that's compatible, similar to what the gentleman up around the corner has done with a couple properties. Take the
Tom, do you
existing,
have a copy?
take the existing building and kind of expand and add on and do something. So the packet that I am sending around here that you may or may not know.
Yeah, I think, and that's the one that I
Bob's
gave
got an
everyone.
older,
You have an older one?
he's got an,
That's the one you just handed.
The one you handed us.
it's
Yeah,
got some,
no, you passed around.
there's some massing stuff in there that's a little,
Yeah.
little older,
Aren't completely built out.
a little,
Right.
yeah, without, doesn't have
It doesn't have the trim boards on it.
doesn't have the nicer, the
Some embellishment.
the image that we presented last week at the pre-development, so,
I have a question.
sure.
Just for the sake of this discussion, which ones are the new ones that you're talking with the embellishments?
Is this one?
So the 11 by 17s that are
This, right?
Is that, yeah, I think
It's the
that's,
same as,
that's the one, yes.
The embellishments being the,
Okay.
all of the trim.
my question.
Well, and the rendering that's a little bit more in, to scale and inserted into the actual photo of the site, so.
Well, let's renovate that, but I guess my first question is, what's the distance? Yeah, 'cause between the two buildings.
Well, the two buildings will connect at some point.
Well, that's what I'm noticing.
Yeah.
You're connecting on the first floor?
On the
not-
main floor, we were gonna be connecting.
Is this one property?
It
Yeah,
will be
it
one
will be.
property. Yeah.
So you don't have to fire rate that wall?
No, it will be one property.
But I think your question was, what's the distance? It looks like about 3 or 4 feet.
Well, it looks like on that main level, 0, yeah.
It looks kind of less, and I'm just wondering if there could be
And,
a little more,
well, yeah, what I really want to say here today is that this isn't 100% baked. Okay, but this is the
Yeah.
direction that we're going in now, which I think in general, everybody at the pre-development was pleased to see
Character-wise.
that that we want to do something a little more compatible, a little bit more in scale with the
Discuss further
neighborhood.
what you want to do to the original house. Just in terms of concept, and it may be flexible, in fact, I'm hoping it is.
Yeah,
Get to that.
you know, well, there's quite a bit of structural work that has to be done. I mean, the roof is shot, so when we dig into this, who knows what's gonna be happening. But, what Chris would like to do is, he'd like it to get back to a little bit more of the original, but he's, you know, we understand that this whole porch area has been altered and changed for
Oh,
60, 70 years. And
I did do
Yep,
do a little
Kate-
bit more
Kate found
digging,
a little-
just a little bit more digging,
Sure.
and in 1938, the owner of this house moved
This is
into
the
his
original.
basement, and 2 people moved in
Became a
to the
landlord.
upstairs, and then the following year, there were 4 people living, and he was still in the basement. So this, I think this happened early.
Precedent for,
Since I think
Oh, yeah.
at least 1940, I think it has been enclosed.
Is there anything you've discovered through old photographs about the grounds around this? Because it's an interesting siting project. It was high, it was a hugely sloping site, and they
Yeah.
put it very high. The first floor is up
Yeah.
to the grand stairs.
Yeah.
I've always been interested about whether they dug out.
You've seen it, well, you know, yeah, the basement was completely dug out, and apparently the owner did that in the 30s,
Well, that's
the original owner.
what I'm trying to say before
Because
that.
if you look at the photo here from the 20s, the porch was just that, it was a porch.
I guess that's the photo I was looking for.
Yeah,
Is
if
that
you
in
could
this set?
share that with Bob.
That's not, no, and I'm not sure why that's not.
So
Oh, I'm sorry, there goes my whole question. This is what I wanted to know. This is significant.
Yeah.
This is the significance of the worth of that house. This
Right.
is the wonderful quality of Ward Wellington Ward that could benefit your site. I'm gonna go one step further, I'm gonna go a big step further, Jim, you know me. It would behoove your project to reconsider your total count of units to achieve that goal.
may I have that?
My point here is that both the sighting of the groundscape and just bear with me because the quality is evident in that photograph. And the porch aspect are the most significant parts of the original quality of that house.
And you're absolutely right, Bob.
I know, and all I'm gonna say is what you expect me to say.
Yeah.
And that is that it would enhance your project immensely to reconsider your total count of units to achieve that south end of the project. Take down the addition over the porch and try and enhance the porch, possibly not as residence, although that's your call, that's your owner's call, your
It's
client's call. We
the client's call
we understand
completely.
all of that.
Yeah.
From a preservation and from the enhancement, and even from your possibly the funds you're going for, it would enhance your position immensely if that could be achieved. Comments, discussion?
Well, I guess I just want to understand, this is a photo from the 1920s.
We're assuming that based on the car that's there.
When did the addition on top of the porch happen?
I'm just assuming that it would have happened probably when he moved into the basement.
Which is the
Late 1930s, so 1938, because it's at that point, if you look,
And it was quite an endeavor too. He had to shore up that porch and excavate and build a foundation and, you know, a basement area where there was none. So,
and what's interesting is if you look at the.
right or wrong, it was quite a job back then.
The current, so if you're looking at, it would be on the right-hand side, entrance into the basement, has details of the rest of the house. This entrance here.
Yeah, 'cause I guess
They-
from my
point of view, I mean, this is a tough one, because yes, the character of the Ward Wellington house and friends is something that we would love to see, but then, you know, contrary to that, if the changes happened in the thirties, where the owner enclosed it, put a second story and a foundation, that's a hard one to say, to go back to the twenties in terms of,
I'd like to just
The
continue,
massing.
I had a second point
What is
on your
the-
plans
Yeah.
that might help the project, and that would be the first or ground floor plan of the addition. Shows, you know, 2-bedroom apartment, nice little recessed niche, and the parking, of course, which is under the 3-story building.
And
It would be
those would
great
be accessible
For the
units.
sake of the modulation of this, it would be terrific if this portion of this could come back from this corner to make this more look like a house proportion. I've looked at your upstairs plans, and it's not an easy move to do based on the size, but that would be another recommendation to enhance the project's historic context.
Right.
You know what I mean, everyone?
Yeah, no, it,
Could you, I'm sorry, could you
On
restate?
the first floor plan,
Pushing back.
look at the first floor plan.
Yep.
Push the part that's over the garage there, you see the parking spaces?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
move the upper 3-story addition back that niche that is the supporting column, about 4 feet. You see that
Yeah.
thick wall on the original?
Yeah.
If this-
actually, you're talking from the ground floor
Ground
plan.
floor.
The ground floor.
I mean, just
and-
talk from the ground floor
and-
because it's confusing.
Bob, we actually considered that at one point.
This is the ground
and-
floor.
And then may happen,
Well,
it was
off
trying
to
to
the-
get some units down on the ground level that are accessible,
Right,
so.
so those are terrific, and you can see from this plan how the modulation of the historic residential neighborhood would be enhanced if the 2-story addition above on the floor plans,
They
first
could
floor,
pop-
and
then they
second
could
floor,
pop out a little bit.
could be recessed enough to set this facade, and then that would help the elevations enhance it further by not having that long wall on the second and third floors. I'm sorry, the first and second floors as they're named here, but in fact on the street. These higher portions. So on the elevation, on the last page, the elevation of Walnut Ave, the brickwork that's on either side of the door of the addition, which this one part where the parking is, might be moved back to, it would be 2 feet to do it. Okay.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
enough.
yeah, no.
Could we see that historic photo?
Yeah, it hasn't been over here.
Can we look
have a
at,
comment.
look at the,
I have a comment about the connection to the north wall.
Uh-huh.
That bay window is
yeah,
quite beautiful, quite detailed, and is a focal point of the north wall there. Did you consider anything
Yeah,
else?
we've struggled with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, all good comments and all things that we're trying to consider as we really develop this plan.
Shift over into that
Yeah.
fitness room connection.
Try to,
You know, where the old service porch was. I try to alleviate any connection to that bay.
That's
Yeah,
nice,
I
that's
would-
nice as a study, the curve.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it's a
I
great
mean,
future
but the
use.
connection's awkward still.
Yeah, I would like a little more relief from that bay window so that we can express it more, which I know is a tough thing because you're dealing
Right.
with,
And I'd like a
bedroom
bigger
sizes.
site and a better piece of property to work with, and so we'll get there.
And then on the original house, you're dressing out the foundation. The rendering just showed you bricking it over.
You know,
or you dressing
The
it out?
parts that were exposed originally were brick, you know, and you can see we're parging, you know, I mean, if you see from the original photo, I mean, this house sat up nicely up on top of the hill and was
Yeah.
properly planted
That's great.
in the site. And
Thanks for bringing that. I had-
It's certainly not anymore, so,
It changes the whole mass and
Well,
scale.
you
of
put
it.
this with the beautiful plans that you did, and it's just spectacular.
oh, it's nice stuff, yeah.
I would love a copy of this if we have it.
Oh, yeah, no, I can get you a copy of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So that's from a monograph that Ward himself produced of some of his recent works, and was produced, I think, in the 1920s. But and so the purpose of, just to make sure everyone knows, that the purpose of this is very preliminary, to give some broad, sort of general comments that you can take back and conceptually, you know, It's not not even a project site review or anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Very encouraging.
Yeah.
Very encouraging to a potentially super project.
Yeah, I'd like to say I'm really pleased that this was entertained, that we've moved away from, yes, Tom.
My impression about the addition in particular was that I love the design. The fact that it seems to go far in complementing the house, the original house. My feeling is, especially since it seems to be one project, that to go with a completely different design for the addition is not a good choice, and I like the design being similar.
Another question for you, Jim. Is this a brick on the base you're adding?
Yeah, that would be the intention.
That would be nice. And then on the addition as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really good direction.
Good direction.
It's also interesting, if you look at your elevation, so I'm looking at the renderings that they've done, if you took those last two bays of the addition, the two windows, and made those the same color as the porch, the visual aspect of the mass, just color, it would just be totally broken.
Yeah.
Say that again?
On the other hand, it's just bookended like that. We gotta be careful.
Believe me, I'm just
Oh, I see what you're saying.
responding to what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
If
yeah, to
this
bring some element.
were of this color.
So that you had some
So
unity
that-
on
well,
the,
it would then take
bookend.
this element and make it more in scale with that element, just in terms of light and dark massing,
Yeah.
which is what I was trying to suggest with a 1 or 2 foot recess, which is
Yeah.
more effective.
And like I said earlier, just not a Disney World kind of replication of what was there,
Yep.
so something complementary.
That's appreciated.
and,
Your updated elevation shows, instead of the shed dormer that we have, shows.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think it really.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good start in terms of the direction.
Is
Do you have any other comments?
it's the building,
To be demolished.
is this building still standing?
No,
There's a parking lot there now?
yeah, I don't know if that.
Yeah, it's, you can see,
I'm trying to figure out if that's the next building down or.
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
According to the,
Yeah, I heard she was looking at it.
no, I'm looking,
No,
oh,
she
right
was
there.
looking at that.
Yeah, if that was some other structure, or if that's just the image showing the house next door,
Okay.
which will be coming down.
Mm-hmm.
That house is coming down?
No, the one underneath.
Underneath it, yeah.
That, I think it's this white house that's coming down.
Yes.
Except, isn't it a little tuck back? Further tuck back.
Just the end, there's a
Yeah.
gable on
It's a
that end,
two-family.
what we're seeing there, yeah.
It's there.
And, if you look at that old photo, the house right behind here, going up Madison, it's kinda nice too.
It's a beautiful house. That, yeah, this house we're talking about, the one with the
By some
gamma roof.
unknown architect, so therefore we could tear it down.
You mean this one?
At this point.
The one right
No, this one,
behind
it's still there.
it. It is still there.
It's still there,
except
it's
the
wrapped.
porch
Porch
has
is-
been taken off.
It's-
Yeah, it's actually beautiful.
It is, but it's not a ward, so go ahead, Drew.
I'd live
We
there.
would not say that, Jim.
Reduce my taxes. Okay, anything else that we?
Oh, yeah, I'm on
since this
TV,
is-
I should.
Anything?
So, yeah, no, so
happens next?
what is the sort of the summary of comments? I have, you, go ahead and you, yes, yeah, so, and again, I'm afraid, I realize that I reproduced the copies that you had were reproductions from, anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, you don't have the latest, obviously, but,
I'll read that one to you then.
yeah, that would be great. So what I heard was, to summarize the comments, if there's a way you can push the addition a bit further back, look at ways of creating more, you were talking about
Just part of the
color,
addition, just part of the addition.
yeah,
It's-
or pushing part of the addition, yeah.
Some relief
And
on the ground.
working on the connection, and trying to create some relief between the connection and the bay. And Bob had suggested the the radical approach of actually removing that,
Right.
that addition and trying to
But
restore it back
with-
to,
With the number of units, you could probably consider it, and in terms of the roof construction damage, it could probably be achieved. And the units upstairs could be reduced somewhat, according to the current plans. They don't need to be quite as big to take up that addition that really wasn't original.
And I have one other comment. It has to do with how you express the bay, but just simply in terms of the fenestration behind what I'm seeing is a brick wall, and it goes up to probably the floor line of the new, but actually the datum line to me would be down here, so that the backdrop of that, whatever you're seeing down that slot of space, which I'd like expressed actually wider so that you saw the bay.
Right.
It's a small detail, but I think it would help.
But it's an important detail.
Yeah.
The link has always been
Right.
the critical piece here.
And, you know, if it wasn't a Ward Wellington house, you know, and kind of unit you'd want to carve, but I don't think you can do that
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Is that it?
I think that's,
Any other?
What do you call that link between the new part and the existing?
Don't,
let's not go there.
let's not
Yeah,
go
yeah.
there. Let's not go
What's the
there.
word from last week?
Okay, you
No,
can-
yeah, yeah,
The hyphen or something?
yeah.
But this is not a,
Where did that
This,
come from?
this is an addition.
this is not a hyphen. And the connection's not a hyphen.
No,
Tom's got a
hyphen,
question.
no.
Tom's got another.
Tom, you have a question?
This neighborhood, this street in particular, is marked by some of the most obvious power lines and poles that I have ever seen. I don't know why it stands out to me so much. Are you gonna put anything underground?
No, well, the massing of this is all, to keep us under a certain height so that we don't have to move all those. I mean, the initial project we were in here, with, would have required removing 3 or 4 power poles and all the wires, and it would have been extremely costly.
Or even your own power supply to that building?
We're gonna come off of a pole on Madison, we've already talked to National Grid, and it's, we'll be one right off a pole, not even have to set a transformer, so. But I agree, if you look at the photo, you look at the photos, it's quite a mess over the years, what's happened there.
It's a problem throughout the city.
For everyone.
Well, it
Yeah,
is,
it's-
in fact, the whole university and the 505 and everything else, and if you're talking to the utilities at that stage of the project, make that statement, that it all could be.
They need to clean it up.
Exactly.
But
It has to come from them.
it has to come from them, Chris is, you know, the project doesn't
Oh, yeah.
work.
That
if
kind
it's
of
got-
thing is a dramatic improvement for our neighborhood.
That'd be great, yeah. In a perfect world, it'd all be buried, so.
Well, we can actually add that comment, because it is the type of comment that we could support with all of the owners, not just you. It's not your burden, there's no true right.
Yeah.
But as a comment to clean up the utilities in that area,
That would be a
at this
comment to the
time,
city,
it would
yeah.
be appropriate.
The city,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the planning of things with Syracuse University, you never know what project is next in the utility company, so you could be the one that tips it.
we're working to the mayor's new streetlight
Right.
program.
No, that's part of an overall tendency not to spend money on what we refer to as infrastructure.
Just so everyone knows, so this is still working itself through the local protected site process, and we anticipate it coming before the Common Council before the end of the year for approval. So the LPB will either be reviewing this as a certificate of appropriateness if all goes as expected, or it would be coming back as a project site review if it for some reason did not become a local protected site. So it's really helpful to
Right,
be
so
able
the
to have the
sequence is to
pre-developed.
get Local protected site.
Yeah,
in
that's-
place
that's
before the
going-
Common Council
Yep.
presentation,
Yep.
which is fine.
Yep. So,
What's the timing on that now?
the the planning commission will be reviewing it in, the next available meeting, which actually is gonna be early December. And then common council would have it, shortly thereafter, within a couple days actually after that, so.
So middle of December.
Middle of December, and, but that doesn't preclude moving forward on some of the other, items, with zoning and pushing your plans forward, so.
But that's all in the works.
It's in the works, yep.
Thank you,
Okay.
looks good.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Nope, that's it. No, you're not on for anything else, it's just,
He just wants to stay, hang out.
No, I'll be back soon enough.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one.
I think that's
Motion
it.
to, close the
Anything
meeting?
else to discuss?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Anything else to discuss?
Can I just mention the
Oh,
vacant
yeah.
properties task force, or is that after?
Oh, no, you can, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
attended the vacant properties task force earlier in the month. My husband and I went, and there was more people from Sedgwick than anywhere else, and there weren't that many people there. There's approximately 1,900 vacant properties in the city. We specifically asked about 205 Sedgwick, we asked about 12 Brattle. The gist of what they told us was that they focus on, and I'm boiling this way down, properties that are paid tax in full and properties that are vacant, landlord, no payment of taxes, ready to fall down. So their trajectory is not towards houses like 205 because the taxes are paid in full. So,
I did
yeah.
get I spoke to, is it Rick Galt? Rick Galt?
Yeah.
Who is the contractor who's been working with, or working on the property, and apparently he,
Yeah.
the contractor who came here, apparently over the summer, when he was supposed to be working on the property, his wife got sick, so he was dealing with family issues, and told me that actually I think it's this week, and Joe, I don't know if you've seen him out there, he said he was planning on being back to do as much work as he could over the winter months, and planning to be completed with the exterior work that we had approved by this spring. And he still is convinced that the owners plan to have one of their kids move into the property, although I suspect at this point it will be a complete gut and stuff in terms of the interior, because it's been closed up for so long and wet with the water off, or the water coming through the roof, but the heat, I'm sorry, not the water turned off, but the heat turned off, so it's I think the insides are probably going to be a real mess, but yeah,
Okay.
that's all I've got. Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay. Someone want to make a motion?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
You just have to tell us.
Okay, we're adjourning. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Julia.
Good job,
Thanks,
Julia.
everyone.